In the heart of Lagos, where the city buzzed with energy and dreams danced between traffic horns and suya smoke, a young woman named Amaka sat by the window of a cozy cafe tucked away from the chaos. It was her secret corner, a place where she escaped the noise of the world to sip cold zobo and listen to the hum of strangers' lives. Amaka had always been vibrant, the kind of woman whose laughter could light up a room. But lately, that light had dimmed. Life had become a tangle of disappointments, work pressures, friendships that faded, and a recent breakup that quietly broke her spirit. Her smile, once constant, now only showed up in pictures from last year. That afternoon, the cafe was unusually full. As Amaka stirred her drink absent-mindedly, the door chimed open and in walked a stranger, Tolu. He wasn't flashy. He wore a faded denim jacket, carried a guitar case, and had the kind of eyes that looked like they had seen both storms and sunshine. He scanned the cafe, and when his gaze met hers, it wasn't romantic, it was gentle, like he had found something familiar in her quiet. "Is this seat taken?" he asked, gesturing to the chair beside her. "No," she replied softly, almost hoping he wouldn't leave too quickly. They didn't talk, not at first. She watched raindrops begin to fall on the glass. He scribbled in a leather notebook, fingers occasionally tapping the table in rhythm, lost in his own world. But there was something comforting in the silence they shared, two strangers, broken in their own ways, finding peace in simply existing side by side. As Tolu stood to leave, he turned to her and said something that caught her off guard. "You look like someone who has a beautiful laugh. I hope you find a reason to use it today." And with that, he smiled, a real, slow, reassuring smile, and walked out into the rain. For a few seconds, Amaka just sat there. Then, without even meaning to, she laughed. A quiet, genuine laugh that came from a place deeper than she expected. She returned to the cafe the next day. And the next. Something inside her hoped he'd return. Maybe it was silly, maybe even desperate, but on the third day, the door jingled again, and there he was. Tolu smiled when he saw her. "You came back, so did you," she replied, a little spark returning to her eyes. That was the beginning. Their conversations flowed like jazz, unpredictable, full of rhythm and depth. Tolu shared how he played music at night, wrote songs that never got released, and performed at open mics for people who needed to feel something real. Amaka shared her love for poetry and how she'd stopped writing because life had gotten too heavy. Weeks passed. They went from strangers to friends. Friends to something more. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the Lagos skyline, Tolu performed at a rooftop bar. The crowd was lively, but when he introduced a new song called Amaka's Smile, the room quieted. He strummed his guitar and sang about a girl who forgot her laugh, and found it again when someone reminded her she still had it. Amaka cried, not from sadness, but from being seen. From that day on, her smile wasn't just beautiful, it was brave. It told a story of healing, of second chances, of how a stranger's kindness can quietly rewrite your entire story. And Tolu, he kept showing up, in the cafe, in her poems, in her laughter, in her life.